Kevin Coyle. Kevin,
Hey, Bob.
nice to have you on.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Now, as a complete beginner buying a guitar, what do I look for?
Well, the real line in the sand is between acoustic and electric, and we'll gear this more towards your teenager, adult looking at their first guitar. Basically, if you envision yourself playing more, acoustic Neil Young, Bob Dylan, your whatever kind of acoustic player, obviously you want to go to acoustic. You want to purchase a guitar that you envision yourself playing after you've learned the basics and you're starting to make music. Likewise, if you always wanted to play, Led Zeppelin, Metallica, what have you, starting on an acoustic is just going to give you one more stepping stone to make the music you want to make. So start with an electric. And price range-wise, they're not completely in different ballparks. You can get a decent electric guitar for about $99, a complete package from, say, $159 and up. Same thing with an acoustic guitar, about $99 and up. So it's something that's pretty affordable. Anybody that wants to get into music can do. Though there are pros and cons to both styles, though. We'll start with the electric. The electric does require an amplifier to get the sound. However, you can use lighter strings because it is an amplified instrument. You don't have to have as much mass producing the sound. So you have lighter strings, they can be closer to the fingerboard, thinner bodies, so that it's less cumbersome, a little bit easier, especially for a smaller player to get involved in. They're oftentimes heavier than an acoustic guitar, and they're not as portable. But you do have more electronics options where the hobbyist aspect of it comes into play. You can get effects devices for different sound effects and tones. The amplifier is a whole other conversation unto itself. You also have different body styles, finish options. You can get an electric guitar in nuclear yellow, candy apple red, whatever your heart desires. Right. This one shown here is a more traditional three-tone sunburst, pretty classic, pretty vintage, but
And this is what you hear on the radio mostly too, right?
Oh, yeah,
the rock
electric
players,
guitars,
and that's what brings beginners to buy a guitar.
the enthusiasm.
Right,
absolutely.
right, and that keeps the motivation.
Correct.
So they should buy a guitar that they really want to play.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yep. However, conversely, you put that in the hands of someone who wants to play classical, flamenco, what have you.
It doesn't work.
It's not the right vehicle.
Right,
yeah,
right,
absolutely.
okay.
Now, there are some other hardware things that you can look at for a beginner buying an electric guitar. There are some things that are going to affect tuning stability, playability, two really critical things for a young beginner playing. On a lot of electric guitars, you'll have different styles of bridges, which can give you neat sound effects. However, it'll be more difficult to keep your guitar in tune as a budding young player. Also, things like scale length and the body shape. When I say scale length, it's the measurement between this point here and this point there. When the guitar is at concert pitch, the longer the scale length, the more string tension there's going to be. So playing that first C chord and F chord is going to be harder on a longer scale length guitar.
Okay. And the strings themselves?
Strings themselves are usually made out of a combination of nickel and steel. The most popular combination is a steel core with a nickel wrap.
Now, will that hurt the fingers for a beginner?
In the very beginning, if the guitar is not set up properly. Now, the term setup usually refers to the optimal playability of a guitar. And oftentimes, this piece right here is called the nut. If the nut isn't installed and fitted properly, it's going to be really difficult whether you're a seasoned pro or a budding young rock star. So it's something you do have to sit down and try each guitar to find the one that feels right.
So if you get a guitar out of the attic, it may not be playable.
Correct,
because,
absolutely. Yep.
Right,
Temperature, humidity, all things like that are the enemy of the guitar.
Right, and I think the manufacturers today try to make them playable.
Oh, they absolutely do. Now, even if we get a $3,000 guitar right out of the box, sometimes it requires a little bit of TLC because so many of these guitars are shipped via UPS, FedEx, different times of the year. The extreme hot and the extreme cold, will both wreak havoc on a brand new instrument. So it's something, find somebody you trust, a guitar teacher, your buddy at the local music shop, and have them make sure, especially for a beginner, that it's set up to meet your needs.
Okay. Do you find that boys versus girls go more towards the electrics or vice versa?
This day it's really refreshing. We have a lot of young female students that come in looking for guitars. So
That's
it's
encouraging.
a pretty even playing field.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you, Ken.
Thanks, Bob.